Okay, so I've been noticing that as soon as a new device gets launched, a lot of people start flocking to replace their old one. But I think that most are making a huge mistake. Whether it's the iPhone 14 or the Samsung S22 Ultra or any other latest release. I believe that they would be overkill for most users unless you're a power user looking for top of the line specs or buying the phone for a specific feature. I'll prove this to you with my OnePlus 8T, which is like a 2-year-old device, but it's still my daily driver. Bear in mind that I bought it when the OnePlus 9 was already out, but I still opted for the older generation with the following in mind. A quick look at the specs here, and we have the Snapdragon 865, 12GB of RAM, 256GB of storage, and a 4500 mAh battery. At the front we have a 6.5-inch display with a 1080p resolution, but does support the super smooth 120Hz refresh rate. Now that specs are out of the way, let's talk about actual use. When talking about performance, it never disappoints. I do consider myself as a moderate user, which includes multitasking between many apps all day long, but I don't really play a lot of games. With this in mind, I would say that the phone has rarely ever lagged or stuttered and never felt slow for my use. The RAM is enough to hold many apps open in the background, and the system is well optimized enough to juggle between the different apps. I can confidently say that most people could use this phone as their daily driver and not even know that it's a 2-year-old device. The display is another aspect that doesn't seem outdated. Even though it is a 1080p display, it does get quite bright and has the 120Hz refresh, which makes the animations look super smooth and fluid. It looks very similar to its successors such as the OnePlus 9 or 10. The battery also holds up quite well. It lasts me nearly the whole day, whereby I'd be ending the day with about 20%. Even though I have my Wi-Fi, data and location always turned on. My brightness is also set on auto, so I would consider the battery decent. I have no complaints, especially because of the fact that it has warp charging 65, which charges back the phone up to like 90% in half an hour. The only feature that I would believe would be seeing a notable difference is the cameras. Now the OnePlus 8 does have a 48MP camera that does 4K and all the necessary stuff, and it is a good camera for everyday use. However, I don't think it's anything mind-blowing, and jumping to the OnePlus 10 would make quite an improvement. Although if you are looking for better camera performance, I would suggest that you get a Samsung or Apple device, as they focus a lot more on their camera systems. Even then, my point still stays that you're better off getting the iPhone 13 rather than iPhone 14, as the difference in overall performance would be minor, but you would be able to get the iPhone 13 at a much lower price. From all these years of using and comparing different devices, I've observed a general pattern whereby most flagship devices have only minor improvements in performance, display, or even camera quality in the next iteration. But the price of the newer models are usually much higher and not even worth it for the average user. For most users, a model that is 1 or 2 years old is actually more bang for the buck, as improvements in smartphones are not anything major. Older models are much more worth the money, as the company drops their prices with steep discounts as new ones get released.